Evening, everybody. This is a feeder fishing trip done recently over the weekend, and this is a local lake in Norwich where I live, and I've not fished this particular lake that many times, just once before, just for pike, so it's a bit of an unknown for me, so I was feeling my way around the lake. I tried one or two different places around the lake, merely due to the conditions. The first place I set up was just a little bit too much wind and it was very, very cold this morning. This is 7 o'clock in the morning, and this is the first swim which I boarded on after probably about an hour. Just looking for a swim just to get out of the way of the wind, so I moved to the right where I had some protection points in the trees. It's quite a deep lake. It holds lots of interesting fish. There's obviously your usual suspects, your pike, perch, your tench, your bream, carp, crucian carp in here as well. It's got an otter fence. Do have a problem with otters in Norfolk, and you do pay a little bit more to go to venues where you've got an otter fence, but it is worth it. Yeah, so it's there's plenty of fish in there. It's quite well, relatively heavily stocked, so I'm told. It's well run, well managed. This is the Shallowbrook Lake complex, and I think this one's called Snape Lake. And what have I got in there? I think this is the first fish. Now, I was just fishing out in the channel in the middle there, not too far out, fishing a method feeder rig and a maggot feeder rig. And this particular fish came on the maggot feeder rig, 4 red maggots, targeting tench. There's a lot of weed out there as well, so I found in the middle of the channel there wasn't so much weed, so that's why I focused there. But this is a nice common carp. Apparently they weigh about 10 pounds, very heavy when I was getting out of the net there. Apparently that's a real rare strain of carp they've brought in, potentially to grow to really big sizes. You see how broad it is in the shoulders there. For such a sort of quite a short fish, really is quite stocky. It was a beautiful looking carp, and yeah, it's a size 10 hook I think I'm using there, and we eventually got it out the hook, and really fight hard. I thought it was a tench. I thought it was a really decent tench, and look at that. That's probably about 9 o'clock in the morning, I would say, after a couple of hours. It's just started to warm up a little bit. I've got high pressure just come over this weekend, which I personally think it makes a hell of a difference. Fish are very sort of, they turn on and off with different things, light and low pressure, high pressure, and I think a big moon phase helps as well, coinciding with high pressure is a good combination. And obviously this is April the 20th, still quite cold. And we have another fish here. This was a mirror carp, similar standard fish. Apparently about 10 pounds. I thought about 7 or 8 pounds, but the bailiff said to me those particular fish they put in about 10 pounds. They fought like a trooper, he did. And yes, it's still quite cold. Got that woolly hat on. It's a northeast, stiff sort of wind, so it's really quite chilly, but get the conditions right. It doesn't matter if it's a bit cold. There's other factors going on there, and you can come with some fish. So that's the Guru Method Feeder 24 gram Dendrobina that came on. Cocktail, targeting the tench. We tried really close into the margin where they usually are, but because of the weed, we decided to fish in the channel a bit further out, and there was carp.
This is what we got.
So we've got the maggots, the Dendrobinas. I did have some 2 to 3 boys, but decided not to use those because I was getting fish on the 4 maggots.
grab the bait stop. Guru bait stops. I think these are size 10s. I used to go through a couple of times. Go through once.
Go through a couple of times, less chance of it wriggling off or being plucked off by something. I'd rather use logworms, to be quite honest, but I did ask for logworms, didn't have them. Told me they just import them from Canada. I thought, oh my God, it's bigger than a gun. So there's plenty of bites. Would have had probably 100 rudd if I'd used a smaller hook. But you notice I've just got a little red maggot above there. That's actually a fake maggot because I was concerned that they were stripping it, and there was a few occasions when I came back with a bare hook. I find if you've got a fake maggot on, at least you've got something there. If a decent fish turns up, you probably still wouldn't refuse it. I've caught fish before on the fake maggots on their own, so they are effective. That's the Drennan buoyant red maggot. There's a roach there as well. So I think we had about sort of 10 or 11 fish in the end. Roach Rudd. And so we've got the rods angled down. Rod tips just underneath the water, or just touching the water, just because of the buffering and the wind. Just try and stabilising it a little bit. I've got the drag sets relatively light, not too light, but if a good fish runs off with it, especially these carp, you know, you don't want your rod to get yanked in or damaged or whatever. Just maintains a little bit more control. And obviously another pest, cormorant there, nicking the fish. Herons are there too. And we're into a carp here which has gone heavily into the weed. And the other two carp I did manage to sort of get a good bit of control on them straight away. Don't ask me why, but for this particular carp, for some reason I didn't, and it just engulfed itself in the weed, and we were very lucky to get it. Usually when it locks up solid like that, then that means the fish has got something. When he shakes his head, he's got something rigid to shake the hook out. I think it's barbless hooks in here. I do always fish for carp, coarse fish with barbless hooks. I just think that's just nicer, and that's the rules in a lot of places. Also, have to be careful on this pontoon here because it actually broke. I think when I walked out on there, it actually snapped, and I'm walking on the bits which are still on the actual main stanchion, so to speak. So I could. There's only 11-foot rod, so I needed that bit of extra distance because there's trees either side, just sort of, you know, to keep me away from danger. But that's locked up solid there in the weed, and that's like, wasn't really sure if I was actually going to land this fish. But it's just 8-pound line, 8-pound Daiwa mono, whatever it is, sensor line I think it is. Good line, 8 pound I think. It's just the right balance for your tench, your carp. It's just got enough strength to sort of, you know, to be in control without being too heavy. And what we were doing there, we're just trying different angles just to try and wriggle it out. Not really forcing the rod any more than that. It's a good rod. It's about a £100 rod. It can take it, but rods are rods, and they do have limitations. So I wouldn't want to apply any more pressure than that. And if it had snapped at that stage, I would have been annoyed, but it's just something you just have to deal with. You know, it's like you generally sort of you fish to the parameters of what you believe the rod can do. And then there's mainly the line as well. You think 8-pound line, is it going to go? It could go at any minute. But that's the sort of weed it was. I can't remember the name of that particular weed, but it's quite common. It's very clear in here, this lake. Very clear indeed. So when I first got there, I was a little bit anxious because I do like. I've caught a lot of fish, a lot of tench when the water's really quite cloudy. I've caught them in clear gravel pits as well. This is a deep gravel pit. This is probably 10 foot where I'm fishing there, probably 16, 18 foot in places. So very sort of, it's very deep close in as well. And obviously when we're trying to be careful that you have to release the line off your reel so it bends over, and obviously the handle of the the landing net catches in the trees as well, and you've got to mind the rod, which is already there. There's a whole host of things can go wrong in brake gear and slip over and do yourself in. So you just got to slow it down a little bit. I do anyway. Yeah, and the wind as well. The wind was coming into this side of the bank, which they always say is a good strategy. So we've done that as well. This is quite a nice fish as well. They're all about the same size. They're all about 10 pounds. And they scrap like hell, especially on that gear. That's a 1 pound Gray's Prodigy, 11 foot. So it really does sort of test the old rod. And, beautiful fish.
My tackle.
Not very long, but they're very sort of.
7 or 8 pounds.
See, I'm saying they're 7 or 8 pounds. The bailiff reckon they're about 10 pounds. They're very heavy lifting with the net.
Let's get you back inside the water like that.
So I always put them back in. Took them out with the net, put them back in with the net so you don't drop them. Got a nice fish mat there.
You're relatively subtle. Got to head down that bloody weed, and that was. So you need the 8.
So that's another one of the rigs. We swapped over the method feeder and put the cage feeder on a sort of a maggot feeder rig one, which I pre-prepare just to get a bit of ground bait out there. And it's literally just plonking it a couple of rod lengths out really, but it was really trial and error, just finding where I felt there wasn't so much weed and where I was getting bites as well. That's where I was getting the Roach and Rudd from. So it was a complete. I didn't know that there was going to be carp in there. It was tench and bream we were targeting. But it's like fishing is just like constant trial and error, searching different things. If you're not happy in a swim, move. You know, try close in for your tench. If it's not happening, you know, you can leave one rod there, but you know, always searching, always sort of trying different places, especially when you're new to a venue, you're new to a particular lake like I was here. And always have a sort of a selection of baits or a couple of good baits, preferably live baits. I mean, I was using the dendrobinas, I was using the maggots. Maggots are a brilliant all-round bait. They really are, quite cheap, and literally you can catch everything on it. And yeah, so it was a good day really. Nice dull overcast as well, which is what I like. Would have liked to have been a bit warmer, but you can't have everything. But there was other factors which were in our favour today. And we brought the brolly as well in case of a shower, and it didn't till right to the very end. So this was the mid-afternoon, so it went through a period of the classic lunchtime, bugger all bites, all the fish switch off, maybe they're having a rest from chasing around, having a feed. So we decided to move, sort of searching a different part of the lake to see what we could do, and moved into a swim where one of the bailiffs had told me there was there was a good perch swim, and it was a swim where I'd had a good pike from 3 months ago. So I was just applying the same techniques, and started close in, nothing. Went long range, distance, getting bites. Fishing at such range, couldn't really hook up with them very well. Then the other bailiff turned up, and he gave me a little bit more information. Now we just latched onto a rod from those lily pads, and as I was winding it in, a big pike came out and he grabbed it. And I was just waiting for the line to go ping, because it's quite a big pike. And it kept staying on and kept staying on. I thought, oh, have we lip hooked it? So after about 5 minutes or so, we managed to get the small net to see if I could just get its head in and lift it out that way. And the rod was smashed to pieces, or he, you know, he must have been well and truly mangled from that. But it was quite a big rudd, because I was playing it and I was thinking, oh, this is a nice roach or rudd, or just see it flashing, and all of a sudden I saw the pike. It was lovely clear water, and managed to get it in the net. I'd say it's about £10, something like that. And he was just the size 10 hook. He just got him in the
hook, look.
In the scissors, right at the back end.
That's a nice fish. That's about 10 or 12.
So there's a little bit of variety there.
That's where he's hooked, look.
There's a lot of weed in there, so why they've got that lovely golden colour.
Got a lot of energy left this one.
Still quite lively, so I decided not to sort of play around with him too much. Just kept him in the net. Took a little photograph of him.
Pikey.
And we hadn't had many bites or anything decent at that stage, so that was just a little bit of amusement, really. But I wanted my rig bag and the maggot feeder bag and all that sort of stuff, so I just hung on to it. The £8 line on this is a Drennan medium feeder. You can sort of pelt it with £8 line. You don't worry too much about it pinging off, as long as your weight's not too heavy. A little bit awkward getting the spikes in the to somewhere to sort of sensible to sort of position the rods. It's quite awkward, but managed it in the end. Had the place to myself. Can you believe that? This is a Saturday. Had the place to myself. No one there at all.
Right.
A couple of anglers turned up about an hour and got it off.
Because I've just chucked all my bait away. The hook's just come out.
And we got a surprise right at the end, which is what I've been searching for. I was literally packing up and I had the last rod left out under the lilies. And that was getting late in the day, nearly closing time. About 6:15, something like that. I just chucked all my brown bait away, all my maggots away, all the worms. I just lobbed them. And then the rod killed. The last rod, I was de-rigging the other rod, and the last rod was killed round. 4 red maggots.
That's a beauty.
Dark
Absolute
Tench.
beautiful fish. Tinka.
And that sort of rounded off an amusing day, really.
Really does top it off.
It's a day ticket lake.
It's absolutely lovely.
And
Absolutely gorgeous.
target these close in, around lilies, around underneath, near trees, areas of dark water is where you want to target these.
That's beautiful. Let's put it back. Let's put it back. That's a beauty.
So yeah, we were very lucky, and we had a good day. And so I hope you enjoyed the video. I think I may have sort of captured everything there. May have sort of missed off 1 or 2 things, but I'd like to think I'll give you all the...
Just chucked all my brown bait away, all my maggots, everything. There's still probably another hour I could fish here. I wasn't getting any bites, and that was it. 4 maggots. Incredible.